Welcome to the scorching arena of valor and the crucible of courage. This is the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Here, in the inferno of life's greatest challenges, heroes are shaped and legends are born. Every episode is a torchlight of wisdom, casting a glow on the paths walked by those who've braved the flames and emerged stronger. In this furnace of fortitude, we'll explore tales of resilience, bravery, and the unyielding human spirit. Each guest brings their own spark of insight, lighting up the darkness and guiding us through the smoke of adversity. With Fireman Rob at the helm, prepared to delve into conversations that smolder with significance and stories that kindle the soul. It's not just a podcast, it's a beacon for all who seek to rise from the ashes and glow with purpose. So stoke the fires of your curiosity and ready your heart for tales of triumph and transformation. The flames are roaring. The stage is ablaze. Welcome to the Forged in the Fires podcast. Let the journey begin.
All right, welcome back to Forged in the Fires podcast. I'm your host, Fireman Rob. Today, I have two individuals that are so inspiring. They constantly push the limits of what is possible. They have a foundation that creates opportunity. It really does. It creates opportunity for others who maybe don't see the light, maybe can't do it themselves, but also helps others to see the possible. I have the Pease brothers with me, Brent and Kyle. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, man, you guys are amazing. Just off of your 2024 Ironman World Championship finish, I want to first start, Kyle, tell me, what does it feel like to be, you finished it twice. You had 2018 and 2024. What does it feel like to be there with your brother, to be able to inspire not just the United States, but the world in what is possible? What does that feel like, Kyle?
It's incredible. It's an honor to have that on all your shoulders, and like you mentioned, to get to do it with Brett is the best part. And I never would imagine in 2018, after we completed it, that we would get to go back to such a amazing, spectacular venue of Kona.
Yeah.
But it was truly amazing, and I've been telling a lot of people that it's the most fun that you never want to have again, but you keep getting back.
I knew I could count on you for some of those.
When was your last Ironman?
So my last full was 2019 in New Zealand.
Right, and before that, it was when?
It was like 2017, I think it was.
Yeah,
Ironman, Wisconsin.
So it was like 2017. You were like, "I'll never go back again," and you did Kona in 14, right, or 13?
No, I did in 12.
12, shoot, yeah. Right. But then it just keeps calling you back.
It does.
You know? And yeah. Kona's just so special, as you know, but man, I don't know if I could replicate the day we had in Hawaii again. It was pretty special.
You guys and Brent, you really, when you think about what you guys get to do together, but yet again, you have this amazing foundation, the Kyle Pease Foundation, that you started way back when. And what does it feel like when you cross that finish line with that Kyle Pease Foundation on your chest, in your hearts, in the messaging? What does that feel like now versus when you did it the first time?
Well, we got a message the first time. And as you mentioned, Kyle and I did our first race in 2011, and we started the Kyle Pease Foundation in 2011. So these things,
yep.
Our personal racing has been happening in concert with the foundation's growth. And in 2018, we got a message from Dale, one of our athletes, and he said, when you're in the World Championships, we're all in the World Championships. Oh. And this year, a friend of ours that was with us, she was there watching her husband race and helping us with some social media stuff. She gave Kyle and I these shoelace, I forget,
Yeah, right.
Or whatever they're called. It was a little piece for your shoe. And that's what it said. It said, when you're in the world championships, you're on the world championships. And I think it didn't feel different. It just felt more powerful in 2024. Like it hit us like a ton of bricks in 18 when we got that message on Friday night. Yeah. I wasn't there. Kyle tells me about it on Saturday. And you're
nice,
just like,
Kyle.
wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, it isn't just us. It's this whole movement behind us. It's the volunteers and the bike mechanics and our families and all of the people that just make this thing go. And in 2024, to look at that little shoe medallion, I know we should know what they're called by now, but to look at that and to realize that it's really not just our experience. And quite frankly, we don't finish without everybody feeling like they're in the world championships with us because of everything that they have to do to make it possible. So I think by 2024, we were just so grateful that we could share that experience with so many people and that we got to be there with so many of them.
I want to go back to one race that was iconic. It got picked up by every news media outlet, and it was kind of one of those ones. I think, Kyle, you have a book that's called "Where's My Wheel?" I want to go back to the race in 2015 when you're doing it, New York City Marathon, and you had problems with the chair. Can you kind of go back to that day? Because I mean, I'm reading the story again. I've read it many times, but finishing that race, having other people be a part of it. Tell me more about that moment from both of your perspectives.
Yeah, honestly, Rob, I think that race really kind of put us on the map. It really kind of signaled to me, I don't want to speak for Brent, but really kind of made us the athlete that we are today.
Yeah.
With that experience, it really helped us to understand what both of us had to do mentally and physically to get us through any given time. So that was the equipment and the tools that we needed to conquer any race.
Right. Brent, what was that like to you for you to have those other people? Because like Kyle, you have all these pieces together, and what did it feel like to have those other people kind of step up? The police officers take you to that shop, and then the people to help you, carry Kyle to the finish line. What was that like for you?
We really didn't talk about it for a long time because it's probably the most brotherly race we've had, in that the day started off. I mean, it started off with just pure love and so much excitement, and then it turned into disappointment and despair. And it was like we were doing everything we could to help each other, and then these strangers take over. And like, for those that haven't heard the story, the wheel breaks at mile 13, and we're trying to carry this chair on our own. As you mentioned, the NYPD takes me to a bike shop. We're trying to fix the thing. They can't fix it. And we eventually tied a bunch of rope to the from the axle to my shoulder. And I was trying to carry the chair by myself. And so these strangers eventually realized I couldn't do it. And one joined us at like mile 13 and a half. The next one joined us around mile 16, which is as you're coming over the Queensboro or Ed Koch Bridge now it's called. And that's around the time Kyle and I started really bickering at each other. And by mile 18, I told him I was done. I was like, Kyle, I'm out. This is not us. I don't know what we're doing. This is, because in my mind, what was so special about what we were doing? I mean, Kyle, I wasn't pushing him. I wasn't carrying him. We needed help, and we never needed help. But the reality is like our family needed help our entire lives. We needed people to help us all the time. Yeah. From sitting with Kyle and taking him to the bathroom and feeding him so my mom could run us to other sports and all, and the foundation is the exact same thing. Like, we need so much to help. And so what really happened is that I never appreciated what was going on in the moment. In fact, we finished, and it took us 7 hours and 28 minutes to do this marathon. And we finish, and these volunteers, these strangers who we barely knew, we had gotten a little bit, they're bawling their eyes out at the finish line. They are like, I can't believe we carried a human for 13 miles. And Kyle and I are just like not looking at each other. We're so pissed. And I say bye to them. I tell them I'll be in touch. I don't even try to get their numbers, you know?
Yeah.
We knew their names, you know? And I get in the car, a cab, and I pull out my phone. And we've got all these messages. And it's, you know, people telling us how inspirational we were and how amazing it was. And I talked to this woman, Betty, who's now a cancer survivor, who was living with cancer, who is one of the most positive and upbeat people you'll meet, and who supported Kyle and I through a lot of this. And I get on the phone with Betty because she had written me this long note, and I don't remember the note, but what I remember is what she said to me on the phone. And she said, "You just gave us all the greatest gift by never giving up and showing people what that is." And I started finally crying because then it finally hit me. It was like, this wasn't just for us. Like, so many other people are part of this movement, the foundation, the support. And so I turn to Kyle and I tell him this and I show him the messages. And at that point, he'd had enough, you know, because I had been pissy with him for 8 miles. And he's like, "What? Now you want to be moved by?" Like, I knew what we were doing, buddy. I was keeping your butt out on the course, and I was barking orders and getting these volunteers and keeping them positive. So he and I, next thing you know, we are screaming at each other in the back of the cab. And it was the next morning when we both hugged each other, where it was like we both fully appreciated. And so I think sometimes with endurance sports, I think you know this, and I think a lot of the people that'll tune in, it's not always right in the moment where you realize how special. You know, sometimes you need perspective. And for us, the perspective was to say, you know what, we're humans and we're brothers and we make mistakes and we're not always the most positive, upbeat people in the world. And we struggled, and we really struggled. And man, that lesson, we've carried that. I mean, that we carried it into 2024. Yeah. You know, we like Kyle and I were just so grateful in Hawaii. We were sitting there just telling each other we were grateful for each other in the middle of the race.
That's awesome.
Because that's really how we felt. And like in 15 with a broken, mangled wheelchair, we couldn't see the finish line. We couldn't see how people were watching us. So, you know, how I felt in the moment, I felt anger. But how I feel after is an immense amount of gratitude that we were able to get that lesson and experience that race.
That's so powerful. I mean, that's why I love that story, because it's so powerful to the bond. And to a lot of people not seeing past, like Kyle, you know, and I don't want to say you've lived with limitations, because I know you too well, because you don't have limitations because of your mindset. Can you tell me what it is that gives you that mindset that there isn't things that I can't do, I just maybe have to do them differently?
I think that it just my parents taught me from a very early age that no was gonna not be an answer. So it would get ingrained in me to fight through my own adversity and push beyond my own limit. I mean, look, my days are not easy, but what I fight hard, somebody else might find easy, and vice versa. So, who am I to tell somebody that what they do is easy or hard? Because we all have an imaginary wheelchair, but some are more noticeable than others, like myself. But we all have challenges that we have to overcome every day.
That analogy of we all have an imaginary wheelchair is so, wow, I've never heard that. And it's so powerful from the fact that, like, we all do have those things that we're challenging. Now, Brent, when you start the race. And I think a lot of people look at the daunting task of an Ironman. And for both you and Kyle, there's different challenges in that race day, whether it be the weather or the sleep or the mechanics, anything like that. How do you approach the day to be able to succeed and not look at the daunting task ahead?
Oh man. I think we're lucky because we grew up. That's how we grew up. It was like you didn't think about how we were going to get through life with a brother or a child with a disability. We thought about how we were just going to get through the next hour. And Ironman is a day full of adversity. It's I was telling this to somebody the other day. Like when you sign up for an Ironman, most people that sign up, you're going to finish. It's a 95, 93 to 97% finisher rate at almost every Ironman. A really hard day might be 89. It doesn't mean the day's not hard, by the way. That's the point. So what you take is you didn't sign up for this thing where you're like, can I finish? But you signed up for this thing that you knew was going to punish you and challenge you in ways mentally that for some people, they've never unlocked that part of their mind. They've been in this imaginary wheelchair, as Kyle said, their whole lives.
Right.
But we grew up just learning how to manage it. And so when you get into this 140.6 mile day, it's not about oh my God, how am I going to do 14 hours of this? It's just let's move through each of these things. And as the challenges come, let's address them. Let's address them with the positivity and the gratitude and all these lessons we've learned. And it's part of what we try to teach people and share is that, you can do these things. You can do hard stuff. If Kyle can, why can't you?
Right. Now, and that speaks to the volumes to the Kyle Pease Foundation, where when you look at that, making it possible for every person with a disability to be able to go out there and see life beyond, the wheelchair or beyond the limitations that have been put on them. What does that mean to both of you? What does that mean to both of you to be able to provide that? And have them see so much brightness and happiness in their lives because of that?
I think it's kind of like the way the story we shared about, when you're in the world championships, we all are. I think early on we felt like, that wasn't our job. Our job was just to get people into races. But I think now what we understand is that it provides a message to so many more people than we ever thought imaginable. And it's a responsibility that we wear with pride to help people see they're possible, whether you're in a chair or not.
Yeah. I think, so many times when you're confined to a wheelchair, people look and they look at their lives as what they can't do. And we, as the Kyle Pease Foundation, we want to do the opposite. We want to encourage all of our athletes to go outside the box and be the unexpected. Because when you have a disability, you're expected, to go to school and graduate. But that's it. But here at KPF, we want to show what opportunities look like it, how hope. When you have hope and you persevere, that truly anything is possible.
I love that. You guys are. I get to go. I race out, and I wasn't able to do the Kona one because I'm not as tough as you guys. I'm going to say it. I'm not as tough as you guys. I'm going to do the half. But to be able to be inspiring, I think that's one of the things I want to ask you, both you guys. When you think about the inspiration that you give to kids, adults, even older adults, what does that message look like from each of your perspective? What is that you're trying to get and deliver through your actions? Because it has to be something similar, but at the same time, I'm guessing each of you have kind of that different message that you want people taken away from what you do.
I think I've always just wanted people to know that, hard is not the end. I think, our experience, certainly mine as a brother, it was like meeting when I finally, like my early memories of Kyle were this like extremely tragic memory, like, oh my God, this is so terrible. But that wasn't the end of the story. And so, when you look at somebody like Kyle, you don't have to feel bad for them. You can take lessons from them and you can use it in your own life. And so it never has to be the end. It can be the start of something really special.
Yeah, I mean, to me, and I know this might sound like a funny answer, but to me, I just go about my day. Like, I don't consider myself an inspiration, but I want people to be inspired by my work, by the work that I do with KPF, and that I get to include people that never thought that they could be an athlete. That's what I want people to look at and remember about me at the Kyle Pease Foundation.
That's and the best thing is that this is the other part that I think is so phenomenal at the Kyle Pease Foundation. There's the number of people that work there, as far as being able to say that there aren't limits. Tell me more about who works there and how everybody works together, because it's a joint effort of individuals that a lot of companies might say, oh, well, you can't do that. But instead, you're flourishing because of what you do.
So Kyle, speaking of New York Marathon, Kyle tried to fire me today. So I almost wasn't even there.
Was it successful?
No, I was like, I'm the executive director. I don't care whose name is on the But you talk about like what people take from this, and like the story we've told about. I'll never stop telling the story. Justin Knight did Ironman Florida in 2015, and it was a really huge deal. It was a huge deal for the foundation to have somebody besides Kyle do an Ironman. It was a huge deal for Justin that he built from 5Ks to Ironman. It was just a huge deal. And after the race, he said, I want a job. And we were both like, huh? I thought you'd want to do like the next big race. And he wanted more out of life because of this. And that was really powerful to us. And so now we have 6 employees that have disabilities that work here. And we're hiring 2 more before the end of the year. We like to say that they all do meaningful work here. And that's something we're very proud of. We don't just have them. They're not figureheads. They're here to do work. Kyle, the reason he wanted to fire me is we were talking about one of those employees and like how to work through an issue. And we're having a conversation, not about somebody with a disability, but about an employee. And that's when you walk away from that conversation, hard as it may have been, it was really positive because that's what's happening. And so now the foundation has this movement that's really going beyond the finish of not just getting them to the start line and helping them find the finish line. It's helping them find their possible. And that possible for somebody like Justin is a job and meaning in life and being included in more than just a 5K on Saturday morning, but just being included in life.
Yeah, that's so powerful to talk about, because it's not just a single race. I mean, you said beyond the finish, because I think it's very apt that I put out there. There's a fantastic book that they have, Beyond the Finish, by Brent and Kyle Pease. You can actually go to the KylePeaseFoundation.org and find that. But it's so much. It's so true from that standpoint. Is like that finish line is really the start to something great, right, Kyle?
Absolutely. I think for your listeners and anybody that doesn't think that they can do a 5K or whatever they want to do, I think you have to make that first step or that first wheel. And then when you do that, then truly the sky is the limit, and you never know what that first step or first wheel, how that could impact somebody in your community.
I love that. The first wheel. You got all those lines, Kyle. I might have lost here. So what does it look like for you guys again? I mean, you've done both the world championship. As a duo, nobody's going to catch you from that perspective.
Oh, records were made to be broken, right? Somebody will come along. I mean,
but not two as sexy guys like you. I mean, come on, let's not get beyond ourselves.
Listen, don't make our egos bigger than they are.
That's why we do all audio. What is that next level for you guys? What's the next thing?
I think people constantly want to move the goal line. And I think that Kyle and I have found things that we're really good at. And we don't feel like we have to we don't have to do 100-miler next. We don't have to do a double Ironman. Like we have a mission in life to improve people's lives through sports. And we have a mission that lives through the Kyle Pease Foundation. And we'll get called again. We did. The reason I was curious for you, I remember Wisconsin really well.
Yeah.
Obviously Kona. But then after that, it's kind of like, well, what did he do? I knew you kept racing. We've obviously been in touch for many years. But it's like you did it in 17, and then you feel the call back to do it again in 19. You feel the call to go do another half. And Kyle and I did our last Ironman in 21, and before that it was 18. So maybe in 27 we'll feel the call. But like for now, we're going to keep doing this because we're young and can still take on these things. I mean, Kyle and I are doing the Boston Marathon in April. We're doing the Dopey Challenge in January. That you
I'm going to be there with you
last year, and you'll be there again this year. It's just such a fun thing, like to share these experiences together. I mean, so we're going to keep rolling, literally and figuratively. I don't know that we have to pick some massive goal like Kona to validate, but we might feel that itch again, and maybe we'll try to remember all the pain and suffering we went through this year. So I don't know. Who knows?
It's very easy to forget the pain, isn't it? That's like the worst thing in the world is that you forget the pain and then you just go out there and do it again.
Yep.
Kyle, what if you could give some people some advice? I want to because a lot of people think that challenges are debilitating, and if you could give them a piece of advice that they can do every single day, what would that be to be able to continue to roll forward or walk forward, whatever it is, to continue to push that?
I guess remember that we get to do this. We don't have to do it. That we get to wake up and walk on sunshine and just see what is out there for us. And like I said earlier, you never know the impact that you're going to have on somebody, whether it's giving somebody a smile or opening a door, because literally when somebody opens the door, for me, it made the biggest difference in my day. So you don't have to do an Ironman or do something crazy like we do, but just opening a door makes the biggest difference in the lives of people like myself.
I love that. Brent, what do you think? What's that one piece of advice that you give to people to reach outside of their own self and be able to be that impact in other people's lives?
Since you can't see video right now, I on one of your questions earlier, I was like pointing at Kyle, like, let me answer, please. Don't make me go after you. It's always hard to beat him. I can't even beat him on the race course, besides.
I know he's always ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly. I think that approach everything with attitude and effort. It's what I've been telling my kids for like the last year, because my kids are starting to do sports now, and like it's hard to not want to jump in and tell them like, if you do this, you'll be better. It's like they'll figure it out. They're going to decide where they want to invest their energy, and I've invested my energy in triathlons and Ironmans, and that gets spread down through the foundation. But I try to approach that with the right attitude and the best effort possible, because New York, when I say that lesson that I want people to take, like man, we're pretty lucky we finished New York. And it's actually because of those two strangers that we did, not because of me, because I didn't have good attitude or effort after a while. I really struggled. I mean, we can explain why, but if we're just looking at it simply, like, I just got a bad attitude and I just didn't want to put forth the effort. But these other two people were like, no, we're going to keep moving. And Kyle was like, we're going to finish.
Yeah.
So just bring the right attitude and bring your best effort, and you'll be amazed at what that does to your experience.
I love it. You guys are amazingly incredible, and I always appreciate you. Make sure you go to the Kyle Pease Foundation. It's Kyle, Kyle, Pease, Pease, foundation.org. You can find out, they got a store. They've got all the sorts of events that you can be a part of, as well as have these two come out and speak to your company. You guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you all.
All right. We'll talk to you all next time.
Thanks for listening and supporting the Forged in the Fires podcast with Fireman Rob. Remember, don't forget to like and subscribe to this podcast. And please share this episode with a friend or family member. To find out more about Fireman Rob, or if you have a question, go to www.firemanrob.com. Until next time, live your life forged in the fires.